The Easter Island statues may hold secrets of crazy lost technology far advanced than anything we have today. Estimated between 400 to 700 AD, the first settlers arrived on this tiny island called Rapa Nui. So this Dutchman landed on Rapa Nui in 1722 on Easter Day and hence called it Easter Island. Real creative, guys. Rapa Nui sounds way better, I'ma just call it that. According to local legend, Rapa Nui was discovered on an expedition by a man named Hotumatua from a land called Hiva, thought to be Nuku Hiva in modern-day French Polynesia, which by the way is about 3,600 kilometers away, using nothing but wood canoes and knowledge of the stars, no instruments, traveling for weeks on end to find a tiny island with no known motivation for the journey. Not saying it's impossible, just a lot of historians agree it's a bit of a stretch, so take it up with them. And yes, I understand, Polynesians were incredible seafaring navigators, just the same as Egyptians were likely amazing architects. Remember, these are just theories that inspire us to think differently from the mainstream narrative, so if you can't handle them, you should have scrolled. The story goes, Hotumatua landed on the island with his team and started settling in, when all of a sudden, he realized he forgot to bring a moai statue, the name given to the famous statue heads, from his homeland of Hiva, where these statues were made, to this new island. Another red flag, because present-day Nuku Hiva literally only has one moai statue on it, so where did they all go? Hotumatua sent 6 of his men to go back home and bring back the statue by canoe. While loading the statue, the men accidentally broke it into 2 pieces. Oops. Now Hotu had a vision of this accident and he started tweaking, so he went to the beach and waited for the 6 men to come back and found the head of the statue washed ashore from thousands of kilometers away. The 6 men were never to be seen again. Their legend claims that the statue had arrived there through magical levitation powers and served as a model to build all other moai statues on the island. How did the settlers of Easter Island move the legendary moai statues? Their own legends claim they used magic, chanting to make the statues walk, which is low-key sounding like a better explanation than what modern science has. Overall, they made a total of 887 of these statues that surround the entire island, using compressed volcanic ash from the island's volcano Rano Raraku. Now, the big question is, how the flip did they move these things in place? Modern science claims methods used such as walking, tying ropes to the statue's head and swinging it side to side, as well as rolling them on logs of wood could have worked. And they do. We've proven them many times with experiments all around the world. Just one problem. The heaviest moai statue we've been able to move in these experiments was 10 tons. But Rapa Nui, the original name given to Easter Island, has moais that are up to 86 tons, almost 9 times what we've been able to replicate, as well as an unfinished one that was supposed to be around 270 tons. Not to mention, in 2012, an excavation project revealed that these statues have full-ass bodies underneath them and only 3/8 of them are sticking above the ground. So how did they move them? Why did they bury them so deep? We out here struggling to figure out how they did it. Meanwhile, the Rapa Nui people themselves are saying, hey bro, we used magic. An explanation that is seen repeated among the myths of almost every other ancient structure around the world, such as the Mayan and Egyptian pyramids. Given the Rapa Nui techniques as we currently explain them, it would have taken them over a year to carve a single moai, not to mention actually moving them on top of farming, building homes, and regular day-to-day survival tasks of their reported population of around 3,000 people. Some historians claim it would have taken them way longer than the alleged 1,000 or so years to make 900 of these things. More on that, the name that Rapa Nui gave these statues was Aringa Ora Ata Tepuna, roughly translating to the living faces of our holy ancestors, which almost sounds like they were trying to hint at being descendants of some previous civilization. Now, I'm not saying at all that the Rapa Nui people didn't do any of this. In fact, I agree with them. Their myths almost make more sense than our modern explanations. Traveling nearly 4,000 kilometers by sea with no known motivation, finding a tiny island like a needle in a haystack in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, carving and moving nearly 900 moai statues, some of which weigh up to 90 tons, using nothing but wooden canoes, knowledge of the stars, ropes, logs, and stone tools is questionable to say the least. Accepting our current explanations of ancient history as the end-all and be-all ultimate 100% truth of what actually happened, and if you question it you should be cancelled and exiled from society, is a very close-minded way of thinking. What I'm saying is, what if ancient Polynesians were even smarter than we thought, and had technology far more advanced than we could have ever imagined? And Easter Island, Hiva, and the surrounding Pacific Islands were once part of a greater civilization with these advanced technologies that allowed them to achieve these amazing feats, that maybe got washed away by some global cataclysm, leaving behind only tiny islands sprawled throughout the Pacific, which they continue to defiantly explore. I talk about this 8th lost continent of Mu that could explain this in a previous video that got a lot of people mad. And again, I'm not saying any of this is true, it's just a crackpot what if theory, so tear my ass up in the comments.